This sounds amazing. Marg, does it help you, Marge?
Yeah, it does somewhat. Do you know anything about the connections with those food intolerances and autism?
Is there a connection there?
Or learning disabilities in general?
Is there a connection, Robert?
You know, there can be. Matter of fact, I don't know if you've seen Dr. Phil here on TV. He was actually demonstrating and showing parents how to find out what food sensitivities are causing their children to be ADD. He was just here on the second session, I think a couple of weeks ago. He was on. I did not see these programs. People had come in and told me that now he was asking those parents, how have they done once they have found that they have removed those foods that this child could not have? The children were all doing.
We have found a big difference as well.
Okay.
Big difference, huge difference.
But we don't want to stay on that diet forever.
Yeah, I hear you. Yes.
So I'll share with you something about what you just said there. As long as your body chemistry is back on track to where you are, your scope of what you can handle and what you can put into your system will be far greater than it will be if you were to just stay where you're at. You will correct you when you correct your pH. All of a sudden, the system you can choose anything. I'm an A-type blood. I'm not allowed to have, according to the books, I shouldn't have any meat of any kind in the highly beneficial. But chicken and fish are good for me. But I have the ability to find out when can I have that. By self-testing myself, when should I eat this and can I have this?
All right, Marge, thanks for the call. Numbers up on the screen if you want to give Robert Kish a call to get some, I guess, personal attention on some of these things. Fascinating stuff. Some approaches I've never heard of here. Lisa, you're next from Ontario. Hi.
Hi. My problem is I'm a migraine sufferer, but I have to admit to you that I'm an alcoholic from way back then.
Okay.
And
are you still suffering that now?
Drinking,
okay.
But I had a severe side effect, which crippled me for years, for days on end. 2-3 times a month I'd be bedridden with these migraines. Now, 4 years ago I started to drink again. I don't want to get into that one because that's a long story.
Okay.
But I'm offending God by this, and I want to wean off. I really do. I don't want to crave it, but it helps my migraines. What can I do to help myself to continue to wean off the alcohol? I have 4 a day. Wine is what I drink.
4 glasses of wine?
I want to go to 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Some of the things that what we do for that is we work with the pancreas. We try to use products like different vanachromium, whole system pancreas. These are products that we try to work with the pancreas so it can balance the blood sugar better. Okay. Some of the things that we do again is getting the body chemistry back on track so that you will not be on that, because if your body chemistry is out of balance, no matter how good of a supplement it may be, you're still not processing it, you're still not able to feed the vital organs of the body, and you will be driven to this. You will be driven to it, so we have to go back to balancing the body chemistry, and it is a process that you'd have to go through to really get you back on track.
So you're saying that if she balanced her body chemistry, the pH, that would actually make her less likely to be craving alcohol?
Exactly. You betcha. I have more people, Paul, because whether she chose chocolates or whether she chose alcohol, it means absolutely nothing to us. Either one is usually a pancreas-related issue. So
really?
We have to get that back on track so that she doesn't crave these things.
Okay.
It's all, again, in the process. The hypothalamus, the pituitary, and the pineal gland governs and controls all of these systems. How you absorb your nutrients, how it's picked up by the circulatory system to feed those glands is going to be able to tell the rest of the systems how to deal with these things.
Okay.
You know, just because that's an issue, again, she could come to our office. We may not even be able to start on the condition that she's concerned about. We may have to go right back, and we do have to go back to the very first things first. Balance that body chemistry before you do anything.
Okay.
And what we're talking about there is that you have to have enough hydrochloric acid. Your digestive enzymes have to be in the proper balance. Your intestinal and the large intestine and bladder all have to be functioning well. You've got to make sure that you're not eating mess. That all these got to have to be working.
Lisa, if you can, give the number a call and ask for one of those kits there. I'll send out to you to find out what your pH chemistry is there, I guess.
Okay, thank you very much.
I hope that helps.
I hope it helps. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
It's in the Lord's hands. You know, we pray for people, and we can all count on Him to heal these people. We need that, yes.
Yeah, and again, I mean, we've certainly seen a number of studies too that indicate, and these are, again, secular studies that indicate that people who are prayed for actually do better. You know, of course, medically speaking, God does answer those prayers. Fascinating study, actually, I've got right here in front of me, and again, this is not a religious study. It's a study done by the University of Iowa, and they studied people who went to church, attended religious, services of some type, whether it's, Muslim or Christian or whatever. They basically found that those who attended religious services at least once a week were 35% more likely to live longer than those who never attended. That's a very significant statistic, isn't it?
It is, you bet.
Yeah, I love that.
It's exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a health connection when you walk with God. So, all right, let's go to Vicky's call here from British Columbia. Hi, Vicky.
Hi, Paul. My son and I, my son's 10, we're both diagnosed by our naturopath that we have a yeast overgrowth in our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And also we had a Vega testing done, both of us, and I'm just wondering what the doctor here thinks about this, because most people I talk to have been diagnosed with having a yeast overgrowth. It seems to be it's almost always diagnoses for everybody.
I wonder if it's diet related. I don't know, Robert.
You know, it is. Well, matter of fact, the very first thing that we have to get back under control is the fact to see how strong is the yeast within the system. Most people do have a yeast problem, but some deal with it better than others. I have a problem. I have a sheet here where it says your candidiasis can be persistent. In addition to homeopathically dealing with yeast infection, the entire GI tract should be environmentally altered to be less acidic, thereby making it inhospitable towards a recurrent infection. The reason that that's there, dear, is because your system and your pH is out of balance, making you the ideal host for the yeast, the funguses, the parasites, the amoeba. This is what they want to live in. You change that environment, and they're going to move out. The same thing with the lady that was concerned about the alcohol. The balance that she's driven, it's got to change. The chemistry's got to change.
Okay. One of the reasons why I had the test done is because I'm taking prednisone, weaning off of prednisone, and she said that was a big reason to have the yeast test, the Vega test done. Do you have any suggestions for weaning off of prednisone?
That again is hard to say, and as we build up the person's body here, you will already notice that I can come off of that, and you do have to come off of it slowly.
Oh yeah.
Carefully, very carefully. And with any prescription medication, we're saying here, if we can balance your body chemistry, your doctor, if we're on track, your doctor should be able to notice that, hey, I think I can cut you back, cut the dosage in half or whatever.
Right.
So we never ever suggest for anybody to stop taking anything that the doctor's already prescribed. You must be on it, follow his instructions, but he should be able to see that you are doing better, where he himself will start to cut you back.
Okay, so you think my naturopath did the right thing in doing the yeast test?
Yeah, very much so, because when we do also live blood analysis, and we take a look at the blood under the microscope, and we can see to how high and how much of a problem is it. Yeast, parasites, we see that in the microscope.
Okay, great.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
Thanks for the caller. If I'm hearing you correctly, Robert, again, you talk about the environment we create in our own body with the pH level, the chemistry, the body chemistry, that it's almost like a comparison, if I can, to somebody who lives in a neighborhood that is filled with violence, and there's just bad things happening all around. Now, when a temptation comes along, you're living in that, you're much more likely to succumb to that, rather than if you're living in a situation where you're surrounded by people who have good moral values. You're less likely to, you know what I'm saying? It's almost, you're creating an environment here when something does approach you, whether it's yeast or whatever, an infection, a virus, your body will much more likely reject that if it's got the proper pH balance.
Exactly. You won't have the matter. You won't. And your pH will always tell you if you are at the right level or not, okay? As soon as they're not right, and I'll tell you, Paul, it's one of the most difficult things we have in our office, probably the only most depressing thing I have in this office, is to get people to correct their own pH. We give them all the information that they need with the food that they should have, the choices that they make. It's all going to take time to change. It's just like that first caller. It may take longer, but it's probably the most and the easiest way for the body to deal with all this.
Okay, let's take some more phone calls here for Robert Kish, naturopath, phytotherapist. Audrey from British Columbia. Hi.
Hi there.
Hi.
I'm just calling about your reference to the electromagnetic field.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can tell you I've had severe problems in the past. Since 92, I nearly died. At that point, I've been working my way back to health. And I've had severe problems, allergies to everything in the electromagnetic field.
What is causing the problem? I mean, it's like anything electronic, or?
Yeah, at that point, we moved from Vancouver area to the Okanagan, and I felt electrical shocks going through my heart.
Okay. With that, again, the EMF sensitivity that a person may have, we can test to see if a person is EMF. And another thing I should mention, if one member of the family is EMF, they can actually affect the other person also with that same EMF sensitivity. In other words, if a person who, let's just picture a household, husband comes home, greets his wife, he feels that, something just doesn't feel right in the forehead area. Most often, the person is affected. His EMF, the wife receives it, and she throws it right back to him. So when we talk about things such as ADD, also are some of the things that these doctors are saying it could be coming from
Now,
electromagnetic frequency.
What are the typical symptoms you're saying from, or is it vary all over the place? Or are there some common denominator symptoms, I guess, for this sensitivity to electromagnetic fields?
Most often, Paul, you will hear, these are the people who will walk up to you and say, "Oh, Paul, I forgot what I was going to tell you," and they walk away.
I know.
That's happened to me a few times.
And if that's happening to you, you could be EMF, and because you're on a computer, you become so sensitive to this stuff. When you face somebody, they affect you, but they throw it right back at you, and you will feel worse than the person that is actually facing you. It causes the brain to feel like scrambled eggs.
I'm allergic to everything, but I've come a long, long ways, but I still have to turn off the fridge at night and different things because it affects my heart. I get terrible pains from even the train, the magnetics from the trains going in the distance,
Exactly.
3-4 miles away, power lines.
So you're
I've
saying
had such a shot come through my legs and up and hit me on the side of the head, just I thought I was hit by a baseball bat.
So you're saying if you unplug your fridge, you actually feel better?
Yeah, I can't.
Really?
I can't tolerate the electrical going when I'm trying to rest. My heart starts going, and I get the pains from it.
Now, and don't take this wrong, but is there, I'm just being upfront here. Is there a possibility? Can this be related, with psychological disorders as well, or is it simply a fact that the medical or the electromagnetic field will actually do this to a person?
It will actually, the electromagnetic field and that you are affected by, Paul. Matter of fact, Dr. Brimhall said that the tin cans we drive, the planes that we fly in, are the worst place for this to be affecting you. These are the people who are sitting as a passenger and they're dozing off as you're driving. They're probably being affected by the negative energy called by coil that all gas vehicle motors have. Go to a diesel and we find that it's body friendly.
Buy a diesel. Okay.
I don't drive one, but I do have an instrument here that actually neutralizes that negative energy.
Really?
Diesel would really bother me. Any of those things are tremendously effective to me, any chemicals of any sort.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
All right.
The clock, things like the alarm clock at the headboard. Sometimes you may even want to, if it doesn't upset any other electrical in the house, you actually shut off the circuit breaker, disconnect the wires so that there's no power coming even to the box. We have an instrument here that we can actually measure the electromagnetic in this room.
Okay, fascinating stuff. Okay, appreciate the call, Audrey. We're going to get to Bonnie's call in just a moment. Let's take a listen here to a religious perspective. This is coming from an Islamic point of view, and we asked Hussein Hamdani about miraculous healings, and here's what he had to say.